I might have some overlap with Dr. Xu, so yeah, but I'm going to give my insights as a computer guy. So a few months ago, exactly 6 months, I joined a research project, which, like most work today, required some help from AI. However, the help that I got from AI in this project isn't the typical write me a code that does XXX. It reshaped how I see AI, not just as a tool, but as a collaborator. It challenged my perception of the role of AI in academia and even in society, and it's got me thinking ever since. So we've all heard of it. AI is changing everything. Some call it a revolution, others call it a threat. There are many questions out there, understandably so. Will AI replace our jobs? Will AI take over the world in some kind of dystopian regime? Do we need to swap out our career choices for something more AI-proof like humanities? I have had all of these questions before, especially the last one. I'm preparing to major in something related to engineering or computer science, and suddenly I'm standing on shaky career grounds. However, this particular research project changed that. It turned worry into curiosity and uncertainty into opportunity. So the research question is tackling a very intriguing problem. Does promotional language, what we often call hype, change people's perception of academic papers? So in other words, if you describe your findings with more excitement, does your work seem more impressive? To tackle this question, we first extracted about 16,000 papers from prestigious venues like ICLR, which specializes in machine learning. Then we collected each paper's metadata, its author, its publication dates, and its average rating, etc. And then came the real problem, measuring the hype of each paper. So to measure the hype, we resorted to counting the occurrence of each promotional word within each paper. And my professor already have a whole dictionary of these promotional words, stuff like unprecedented, breakthrough, or robust. However, finding the number of occurrences of these words for each paper isn't as simple as just running a search and fitting the matching words, because this is a screenshot of one of the papers. It's utter chaos because I need to transform all of the paper PDFs into TXT files, which means that these mathematical notations change to gibberish, and there are many missing spaces and word splits in between. And also, even if for these words that are not affected, there might be multiple different meanings to them. For example, the word positive, it might mean greater than 0, or it might mean good. So therefore, if you want to just hard match every word using a very simple search algorithm, then you won't have a very acceptable accuracy. So I reached a brick wall because I couldn't just manually sift through 16,000 papers. That would take centuries. And also I couldn't have a simple algorithm just search through this with an acceptable accuracy. So this is where I turned to AI. I discovered a model called SPACY. SPACY analyzes the context around a word in order to get its connotation. It can also ignore spelling errors because it can use the context around that word to determine which word is it really like. And therefore, I can use this AI model to make the search algorithm possible. So it isn't perfect, but the accuracy is acceptable. What seemed overwhelming suddenly became feasible. I can analyze that same data set through lots of more different angles. So the result? The more promotional words you use within a paper, the higher the average rating of that paper. So what this means is that if you describe your findings with more excitement, your work will seem more impressive to others, even in academia. So there are multiple things that I learned from this research project. The first one, the presentation of the idea is much, much more important than the idea itself. So in the past years, I always thought that if my idea is good enough, then people are going to accept it, and people are going to admire it. And that is a mindset I took to my 8th grade catapult designing challenge. So for the catapult designing challenge, well, it is also a part of the physics project. And for the physics project, you need to write a written component and a video in order to get points. So in that challenge, our team used a very unorthodox design which puts a counterweight above the arm, which flings a projectile farther. And as a result, we won the first place of the catapult designing challenge, which means that our design works above the conventional design. However, the credit that we got for the physics project, 80%. This is because we didn't do a really good job describing how our catapult works, because we had very unconventional design. And also you made a very bad video describing this catapult. So what this means is that if you don't convey your idea in the right way, it is as if you didn't have that idea at all. So the second thing is that I learned is that the potential of AI is unlimited, because Spacey, the AI that I use in my research project, can determine a word's connotation through the context. Imagine as the years go by what other models are going to do. They might be able to detect subtle doublespeaks. They might be able to detect minor implications and satire that the speaker has between the lines. So therefore, while in the past we can only have a few limited conclusions based on one data set, because you need to manually sift through one by one every one of them. But now, with that same data set and a handful of language processing algorithms, we can achieve a myriad of results, some even sparking furthermore investigations and observations. So, however, these two findings are not important. I think the most important one is that the power of AI lies in what it enables us to do. Because although AI can do all these cool things like analyzing context, it doesn't make us obsolete. Why? Because here is the truth. AI didn't come up with the research questions. We did. We framed the problem. We designed the experiments, and we evaluated the results. AI, although it can help in executing these processes, it doesn't replace the core tenets that are driving this research project forward: creativity, curiosity, and critical thinking. AI doesn't care about the nuances and implications of the research project. That is all on us. We are the architects, and AI is the amplifier. So let's stop worrying about what AI might become. Let's start by anticipating what AI can enable us to become. It gives us more time to think, to focus on more innovative and groundbreaking ideas. It frees us from the tedious, so we can spend more time on the meaningful. The future of work isn't about man versus machine. It is about collaboration. Collaboration between humans and AI to achieve what neither could have achieved alone. It is about a new kind of teamwork where the strengths of humans are complemented by the precision of AI, where the precision is aimed by our own curiosity. So let's stop worrying about whether AI will take over the world in dystopian regime, or if we need to switch our career choices, let's start by asking how can we let AI improve our work so that it is more sophisticated and more human than ever before. AI is not a competitor, it is not an enemy, it is a catalyst that enhances our capabilities and amplifies the characteristics of our work that makes us human. The ability to wonder, to question, and most importantly of all, to create. Thank you.